Okay, am I ready? Yes, I am. Okay. I want to talk about professional northerners. As you may have noticed, I have a bit of a northern accent. This is kind of my thing. I'm a real northern person, and I like to stick to what I know about. I've lived in Yorkshire pretty much all my life, and I can't think of how many times I've actually left it. So where is the north? Well, it's not there. That's kind of a given. Although most southerners might think, well, Watford Gap, that's got to be the north. But it's definitely not. I mean, people get a bit further north than that, and they get a nosebleed, especially people in London. They have no idea what the hell they're on about. It's not there either. The North East is some sort of weird place for me. It's kind of full of Vikings and people who wear no shirt in the middle of November. I once went to a Sunday football game. People there in the middle of November, no shirt, loving it. It's a very, very odd place. So for me, it's not there. It's there. And for me specifically, it's probably around about there. Sheffield, really. Because that's where I'm from. So I'm pretty okay. I'm glad to see that somebody else has got a Henderson's Rally t-shirt on. If anyone doesn't know that, come and see me later. I'll waffle on for hours about that as well. So, what is a professional northerner not? Well, it's definitely not your fella there, really, with his wine bar and his nibbles and his jumper around his shoulders. If it's cold, put your jumper on. If it's not cold, don't wear it. So, what makes a professional northerner? Well, there are quite a few attributes. Which I'll go into detail in a second. But for me, it's about an attitude. It's a definite idea of the place is being north. So northerners are definitely miserable. I'm great at that. I'm sure it's been raining today. You're all pretty good at that. We're very independent. Yorkshire is it, and nothing else matters. And we're pretty articulate, although I'm probably failing at that particular thing in a minute. We're argumentative. People like a good argument in the north, definitely. Pretty political, I'd say, and maybe that comes from kind of where we are and the fact that the southerners kind of seem to think we're a different planet, ignore us. Kind of autistic, some of us, and definitely male, as you can see from my candidates, they're all men. Every single one. Not really sure why women aren't professional northerners, probably because they can't care less. Whereas men take a pride in obscure things like being from Sheffield, unfortunately. So here's my first candidate, which is Sir Jimmy Savile. Unfortunately, no longer with us. For me, he's not much of a professional northerner. For me, he kind of abandoned it until quite recently. I wasn't even sure he was from Leeds until I moved there and I saw him walking around Ramsey Park and I thought, oh, why is he here? Brian Blessed. Again, a lot of people don't think he's from the north, but for me, one of the greatest characters in Flash Gordon and that massive voice. You wouldn't presume he was from the north. He's very professional. Not really sure if he's northern how much he represents what we stand for at all. Now, if anybody doesn't know, this is Marquis Smith, who's probably one of the most miserable people you'll ever hear of. And he shouts a lot, but he doesn't qualify for me because he's from Manchester. That's the wrong side, and that's technically not the north again, when we're talking kind of up at the top. Again, Morrissey, huge icon of mine. I've loved Morrissey since I was kind of still in school. He's articulate, he's miserable, he does everything like that, except, again, he's from the wrong side. He's not really northern or that, he's some weird place. David Hockney, a Bradford lad, definitely a professional northerner, amazing artwork, invested a lot back in Yorkshire, particularly in Bradford, but he did a lot of things where he buggered off to Hollywood for years and painted pools and things. Again, a great professional northerner, and people think he's typically northern, but he's not northern for me. He's kind of all footlights and I don't know. It's all a bit, he's miserable and all that. He kind of gets it, but he's just not right for me, unfortunately. And if anyone doesn't know, this is Paul Heaton, who was the lead singer of the House Martins. A special thing for Paul Heaton for me is a big Sheffield United fan, so that helps. He's from Hull, so he kind of falls over because I don't think Hull's quite the north. It's a weird place that people don't really want to visit. And this is one for the ladies. This is Sean B. Now, Sean qualifies on a lot of levels. He's from Sheffield. He has a Sheffield United tattoo on his arm. But he's kind of a renter northerner. If you want a northerner to do a TV advert, you get Sean in. And Jarvis again. Jarvis is from Sheffield. He's a really good northerner. He's born near where I used to live in Sheffield. He still has his strong roots, but he's just not quite there for me. He's very, very close. Everyone loves Jarvis and people have a lot of time for him. This is my professional northerner. This is Brian Glover. Anyone who doesn't know. Brian Glover started off as a professional wrestler called Leon Harris, the man from Paris. He was a teacher when he was recruited to play the teacher in Kes, bit of typecasting I guess, but just some of the lines that he had. For example, he was the voice of the team, man. How much more Yorkshire do you get than that? And this is Brian's kind of epitaph. You play to your strengths in this game. My strength is I'm a bold-headed, rough-looking Yorkshireman. And you don't get much more professional northerner than that for me. So there's Brandon with my professional.